All right, and we're back with Esports Center, and this time we have special guests from NASEF, Claire and Layla. Thank you both so much for joining me today. It's all about game day strategy, and I gotta know, how do the players prep for game day? I mean, if you want to compete against the best, you got to be the best. So, what's the strategy behind their game day?
Right, absolutely. It's important to develop those skills, right? And it's the game skills, it's the quickness, it's the coordination, it's the mental preparedness, and even the physical preparedness. And so at NASEF, we work with students to develop all of those things. And one thing that's unique is we don't rely on the high school teacher to take care of that. So at NASEF, we actually hire professional coaches. They're trained to work with these kids. They are the experts in the games, but they also help them develop life skills. Most of them are college students in top colleges studying game design, engineering, that kind of thing. And so they're able to mentor the kids as well as teach them about the game. So it's the whole package. It's not just the gaming. The gaming is the attraction and it's the fun, but we help them develop all kinds of skills as well that help them succeed on game day because they've been prepared as a whole person.
When you work with the players on in your club, how do they sit and focus with the coach?
Well, I'll share with you one idea is that we have this program called Gamers. And in Gamers, like you said, it's not just the brain and it's not just your thumbs. It's a variety of different inputs that really optimize your performance. So did you sleep well? What did you eat? Are you stressed because you had a test that day and you didn't do well? How do you manage all of those thoughts? Did your girlfriend break up with you? That all of those types of things.
Young love is serious. It hurts hard, right?
It does. It hurts hard and you might not be able to win. So when we do our coaching, we have, as you know, as Claire said, we have the coaches from connected camps that are near peer mentors. They're trained to work with adolescents. That means relationship building, inspiring the strengths that they have, but also working on the skills that could be better. And then we teach the kids through our toolkits to look at all of the elements over which they have control, which is their sleep, their food, their room where they organize, but also the areas where kids don't have control, which is tough. So relationships that they may having or a test that's coming up. So how do you teach those skills of self-control and self-awareness so that when it's game time, you're sharp, you're aimed, and you know how to lead and collaborate with your team members, because it's not just about you, it's about your team.
So it sounds like those coaches are kind of a breed between a life coach and the gaming coach. So, I mean, when it comes to selecting the coaches, are we talking they need to just be good at helping the student, you know, get mentally right with the game? Or is it multiple esports coaches per game?
So we hire professional coaches. We work with connected camps and they vet these coaches and they are trained. And so they can help the kids. We offer a ton of tournaments and you wouldn't expect a coach from one sport to be great at coaching a kid in another sport. And it's the same here. Why would you think an Overwatch coach would be great at coaching League of Legends? So we have different
genres of games, right, that exist. That
exactly.
maybe you'd expect that there'd be some similarities between CSGO and Valorant that a coach could apply similar tactics to, but to go from Super Smash Brothers Ultimate to Valorant would be quite different. You know, like you said, football coach coaching baseball, probably not a good idea, right?
Right, exactly. And so that's where, again, not having to rely specifically on the high school teacher as the expert also, but bringing in outside experts. You're great at this, let's teach the kids this. And we do that across the game skills and we do that across life skills as well. You want to be a shoutcaster? Let's teach you about shoutcasting. So we take it, you know, all across the board to give them the best possible experience. And it's all provided to the teams and to the schools from NASEF. We take care of doing all the background research, the vetting, the security checks and all of that that's important to the kids.
That's awesome. All right. So what's the catch? You guys are providing all these great resources, these coaches that you're vetting out for schools that are, you know, in the club with NASEF. What's the catch? How much is the financial commitment on that?
Zero. We are a fully funded, it's absolutely free. There's no catch. We are fully founded and funded by the Samueli Foundation. It's a philanthropy. Our entire focus and our core mission is on students and helping students in all different kinds of ways, especially connecting their passion with STEM. So there is no catch. It's zero. We want the best for our students. Our Cut to Counts is associated with the University of California at Irvine. That's the gold standard in collegiate esports. That's with whom we've partnered. So these are not just great students. They are great coaches. They're great at their titles, and we provide the match for them we schedule them together, and students in our clubs create relationships with these coaches like any good coach and their player would do. And that allows the teacher to focus on what they're good at, which is teaching in the ground, in the classroom, and we do this virtually as well. So it's a win-win.
Well, there you have it. This might be one of the few things that is actually as good as it sounds, and it's not too good to be true. So awesome information you guys shared with me. I love hearing how the players prep for game day. And now we're going to get into Coach Cam View with Charles Murray, SUNY Cantons Esports Coordinator, to find out how they prep for game day strategy. We're ready to get in the zone with the Coach Cam. Charlie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Erica. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I got to know, there's game day strategy that takes place for the players on your teams, right? It gets intense. You got to get your head right with game because there's a lot of critical thinking and strategy that's going on. How do you help your players get ready for game day?
Well, it's a lot about preparing yourself mentally for the day. Most of my players have the skills already. So with about a 15-minute warm-up where they kind of get their fingers ready for the day, that's necessary. So the biggest preparation is mental. So you need to do research on the opponents. You need to do what they play, what's going to be your game plan. Basically, like any type of simulation, you need to plan ahead. So that's mainly what my players do. It's a big mental game.
So that is really a thing then, exercising the fingers, getting ready to play.
Oh yeah, that very much is a thing. So if you don't warm up, as we call it, you can risk having long-term effects like carpal tunnel, or you can get pinched nerves in your fingers. So playing cold, as we call it, everyone plays cold terribly. It's known in the industry that if you don't warm up, your fingers you won't react as fast. You'll be struggling. You'll forget hand placement. So there's all sorts of skills that you kind of, when you join a program like this, you slowly get taught. Whereas a casual player, you might not know that you actually have to warm up before a match.
Interesting. And I'm actually not surprised too much by this because, as you well know, just by covering the SUNY Chancellor tournament back in May, I myself had some cramping going on in my fingers. And you alluded to me, hey, that's a real thing. Esports injuries are a real thing. So that's great. So what about the mental aspects of it? Do they break down the matches prior to by watching their opponent play in different matches that are available for them to view and just kind of strategize? How do you help them break down what they're watching?
Yeah, so in the leagues that we participate in, all of the rosters for every team are public. So what we'll do is we'll look at the opposing team, find out their usernames, and then we'll go look them up on the internet and find out what they play. So it's a lot like doing research on your opponent. What are their favorite plays? What are their favorite moves? And what do we have to answer that? So we
Right.
will spend at least a week preparing for the next week's match. And then we will do a day before breakdown where we will actually scrimmage each other and we will play like the other team. And that's kind of how we prepare, is we play that at the other team's strength and we see how our best players can handle it.
Interesting. And what's the response like from your players whenever they're going through these types of scrimmages? Do they come out feeling prepared and ready to go up against this opponent with those skills? Is it difficult for them to kind of take on the skill sets amongst the scrimmage, the various players in the scrimmage, take on the skill sets of the opposing team that they're going to go up against and, leverage the skills that are their strengths to figure out how your top players will respond to that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. My players do have their preferred play styles. However, the team that I coach is Overwatch, and at the level that my players are at, they can play any play style effectively. So it's not more of an issue of, you know, do they feel like they can accurately represent the enemy's skill? They usually can in almost every circumstance. It's just, are we ready for, every player has their own little quirk. Are we ready for their team's quirks? Are we ready for that one maybe frontliner who we thought was going to be a very passive player to all of a sudden come out swinging right out of the gate and surprise us? You can know the data, you can know what the characters are, and you can examine all of it, but what really is that we never are ready for who the players are behind the screen. And that's really the only thing that we kind of can't take into account is who the person is behind the character that we're playing against. And ultimately, we're ready for what they have to throw at us, but they can always throw a curveball if they so feel like it.
Absolutely. And we always know that there's going to be at least one curveball that comes. It never happens exactly how you expect, but the preparation is very important to get mentally ready. So what's the post-match analysis breakdown like once the game is over and they either successfully or unsuccessfully prepared for a curveball that they weren't expecting during the match? What's it like for you when you're breaking that down afterwards?
Yeah, so pre-COVID, we would all kind of huddle up and we would quite literally, like a huddle, like in traditional athletics, we would start talking about what went right, what went wrong, what can we improve. And that's kind of how we would sandwich all that information together. Now what we'll do is we'll just share videos. So we'll share a video of the match, we'll digest it remotely, and then we'll go from there. One of the first things that we do is we all actually try to compliment each other first before we start doing or getting into what we did wrong. And that's important because it's very easy to point if it was a tense loss, if it was you know, something that was big, you can have a tendency to point fingers. And I love that my students really tend to focus on the positives first, so they compliment each other on what they did well, and then at the end we'll actually start breaking down with, well, where do we stand on improving? So yeah, it's always great.
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
So what's it like with Overwatch versus, say, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate or Rocket League? These are all very different types of games with different strategies that need to be employed. So how do you break down the matches with various coaching styles per those types of games? Do you have other coaches for these teams?
Yeah, so I only coach Overwatch. It's each game is like their own sport. So I do have other coaches for most of my games. So Mike, my League of Legends coach, just to give a brief example how it differs from my perspective, is he does everything online. He basically will just share his screen in a group meeting with his students, and they'll draw over it like it's football plans, and they'll circle things, highlight, they'll go over, you know, well, you know, maybe you rotated here too slow, you went here too quick, you know, that type of stuff, and they'll break down the nitty gritty of how to improve their mechanics. So I do have coaches though that specialize in each game.
That's awesome. Well, there you have it, Coach Cam with Charles Murray from SUNY Canton Esports Coordinator. Make sure you keep watching because we got the qualifier teams coming up, ready to share how they're getting game day ready. Joining me now, the leadership from the SUNY Canton Overwatch team. Cal, Emily, and Charlie, how are you guys doing? Are the nerves running? I mean, you guys are in the Level Up Arcade. You're one of the few teams selected, hand-selected, mind you, to play or have the opportunity to play with the pro gamers on day 2 of the Level Up Arcade. What's going on in your heads?
I'm a little nervous, but very excited that our talent is being recognized and we get these amazing opportunities like this, honestly.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we get to offer the opportunity. Cal, I know that you're one of the best Overwatch players on your team. You're a leader. You have top-ranking stats. Are you thinking you're just going to go in and crush the competition?
That's the hope. There is also a little nervousness in case like you make mistakes, it happens. Mostly excitement.
That's great. Just keep those nerves going high, but keep them in check. You got to keep your mind right. And I'm sure Charlie here is going to help you prepare for that day. So before we get into that top secret game day strategy that your coach here is going to help you get to, let's talk a little bit about your team, the SUNY Canton Roos. How long have you guys been playing Overwatch? Emily, what about you?
I've been playing Overwatch since season 7. So I think that's about 3 years now. And I've been on the SUNY Canton Overwatch team for that entire time as well.
Wow. What about you, Cal? How long have you been playing Overwatch?
it's a good marker of back in beta when the character Bastion still had a shield. So basically from the start.
So I'm going to take that as a very long time. Tell me a little bit about your team. You guys are top ranked players in Overwatch, in your leagues. What's the dynamic of your team like, and what's the performance and stats that you guys have to carry you through that confidence till game day?
Yeah, so I'll take this one. So most of our players on our Overwatch A team, which Cal and Emily do lead, they are anywhere from masters to mostly grandmaster players, with Cal being top 500. Top 500 is a designation for the highest few percent that you can actually achieve in the game. So total of top 500 players, I think, is 0.01% of the entire gaming population of the game. So most of our team is grandmaster to top 500, with some people being in masters. We are a highly decorated team. We have won championships. Very proud of what Emily and Cal are able to lead our team.
That's impressive, guys. I think that your competitors, the opposing teams here have a lot to be worried about. I mean, a lot's at stake. How do you feel about the opportunity to play with Dante and Linkser, some of the top ranked players in Overwatch in the world? What's that doing for you? I mean, do you feel like you have what it takes? I mean, obviously you have the stats, you have the historical performance to certainly go in and dominate, but you never know. Game day can always come with a curveball. So
Definitely. Our team has worked tirelessly for the last about 2 years. Going into this, I feel that we will have a really good shot. Over time, the last 2 years, our team has become like a well-oiled machine, and we really do work very well together. A lot of us are veteran players, and we've been playing the entire time together. It's going to be a great chance to show what we are capable of. Coming from a smaller school, this gives us an opportunity to showcase how much time, effort, and dedication that we have put into our craft, and to be able to be recognized by elites in the Overwatch League industry is mind-blowing. It really, butterflies in the stomach.
all right, Cal, there's 6v6 squad matches happening in this tournament. Every player has a designated task. They come with their own strengths, their role within the matches to make sure that everybody's picking up their own slack. What are the different roles that are designated for your team? What are the different strengths that you guys have on your team?
The different roles we got the tank. Basically, they're the front line. They take the hits, and then you got your supports that basically keep them alive so they can keep taking the hits. And the DPS are, for the most part right now, the big playmakers. They get the kills and make your team push forward. We got a really strong tank lineup, especially this semester. Support lineups still keeping strong, and their DPS lineup along also actually just got a bigger boost this semester. So the two that I would say were a little bit work. We all use work, but they just got stronger. As a team, that's huge.
So Cal, what's your role on the team?
My role is one of the support players. I usually was playing main support, but we have the other player that complements my characters almost perfectly. So I might be off support, main support, but either way, we'll just have it covered.
What about you, Emily? What's your role on the team?
I am the DPS player for SUNY Canton. Most primarily, I play hit scan DPS.
Charlie, can you give me a translation for all the people watching that may not play esports, or Overwatch for that matter, what that actually means, those various roles? I mean, break down the game of Overwatch for me.
Yeah, so I will happily be our geek translator here. So Cal is a support player. So support is mainly a player who sits in the back and keeps everyone else alive while they're in a team fight. So Overwatch is a 6v6 game where you play to take or defend an objective, or you play to take a central point, like King of the Hill or capture the flag, things like that.
Yeah.
So When it's everyone getting into a 6v6 fight, Cal's role is keeping everybody alive. Emily's job is exactly the opposite, is killing the enemies. That's what she needs to do. As in the industry, we call it frag out. Her job is to get eliminations and make sure that we are having the kill advantage. It's always an advantage to have more players than the other team. So Emily's job is to make sure that that happens.
Cal is our guy. He's our rock. He's our support. That's how I'm seeing you right now. And Emily, just top shooter. What, I mean, you're just going through and just knocking them all out, making sure you take down each member of the team. So what happens if you take down, say, the majority of the opposing team? What qualifies as a win in Overwatch?
So when we have a numbers advantage, what is likely to happen is we're going to play to our advantages. So if we can get some eliminations on the board and we are suddenly up in bodies, what we are trying to do is pressure the enemy team as much as possible. What we're going to do is we're going to take space. We're going to push them back even further. We're going to force them to fight really hard, really fast, or to back off completely so that we can then walk on to the objective and secure the objective. Securing the objective is just having bodies on the field in a specific zone designated on the map.
Okay, well, you know what? This sounds like a highly strategic game. And Charlie, you and I had Coach Cam session just the other day talking about how your players are prepping for game day. How are you going to help them prep to win the Arcade Cup, to have the chance to play with Linkser and Dante?
Well, I won't be giving away any team secrets. I won't be letting you know how the sauce is made, but I'll gladly give a free taste. So what we'll be doing is having our first scheduled practice for the semester on Saturday, where I'll be implementing a range of skills to help these players grow, and especially since we added a brand new tank player to our lineup who is, shall I say, about top 200 in North America.
So one last question for you both. If you get the chance to play with Dante and Linkser during the Arcade Cup on the 17th, what are you hoping to get out of it? What are you looking forward to most by playing with them? Cal, what about you?
Something I'd like to get out of it, maybe. Experience with playing with more higher up players, maybe a little bit of recognition. That'd be cool. Respect and just fun. Fun's a big one.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. If you're not having fun, then it's just work. So make sure you're having fun. And I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunities to learn. And beauty of it is, just a little bit of icing on the cake, guys. The first place winners get a team session, strategy session with the Houston Outlaws themselves for Overwatch. So you'll even have more opportunity post-match to make sure that you have the top ranked players helping you sharpen those skills to keep that top status that you have today. But something tells me you guys got a great coach and you're pretty well off when it comes to that. Emily, what are you most looking forward to?
It has been a dream of mine to play with Overwatch League professionals. A couple of years ago, I even had the dream to become a professional myself. So what I want to get out of this is I just want them to, remember me, my gamer tag, my name in the back of their head. If those professionals can go home and say, that Absolute Sodium, that was really, really fun, really interesting. That would be enough for me, honestly.
That's it for Esports Center. Make sure to register for the Level Up Arcade to join in on the fun. 5:30 to 7:30 Eastern Time tonight.